Hi all. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira, and today I am doing a palette mashup. Okay, let's try this again. Hi all. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira, and today we are doing a palette mashup. I have been wanting to do this particular palette mashup for a while now. Full disclosure, I've used these two palettes together before, so I know they work really well together, but I hadn't done it in a while, and I want to do it on camera for you guys. So what we are mashing up today are the Give Me Glow Vintage Rose palette, and this is so reflective, so I'll open it so I don't blind you guys. The Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2 palette. I'm going to open both up so you can see what they look like together, because these just complement each other so nicely. And if you just randomly happen to have both of these and you've never tried to put them together, this will be a great way to sort of get some inspiration on how to compare the two. But this is what they look like. So as you can see, they're both very pink and rosy, but what I love about the two together is they sort of have things that the other doesn't. So this has some really beautiful, like, neutrally tones that this one doesn't have. I mean, except for this one here, but this is just one chocolate brown, and then that's like a peachy coral. But it has like these tones at the end here. And then the Vintage Rose palette has these beautiful greens and, you know, this sort of like coppery tone here that this one doesn't have. So, well, I'll put it this way. It has it, but the textures read very, very different on the eye, and I'll show you here. So this is the one from Pat McGrath, which is quite deep, and this is the one from the Give Me Glow Vintage Rose. So as you can see, they're both bronzy coppers, but they're very different in tone and different in texture. So I just think that these palettes work really, really well together. So having said all that, very wordy intro, let's get into it. I've done my face already. I have on my foundation, blush, bronzer. I'm thinking, I have blush on now, but I'm thinking I might want to dip into one of the shades in the Divine Rose 2 palette that I've used for blush before, just to give even more blushy zhuzh. We'll see. Let's get into it. Microfiber, I am going to take, and I believe this is called Naked Blush. Do I have the card here? Yeah, I do. This is Naked Blush. So we're going to take this first. And I'm just going to pop this into my crease. And I think I'm going to go for a very dramatic sort of winged look, which, I mean, is not that different from what I do normally, because I love that look anyway, but I don't think I'm going to go for a rounded vibe today. I want to sort of make it a bit more dramatic in shape. So I'm just bringing this, making sure I'm bringing that kind of out. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. I should probably use the other palette so as not to blind you guys. There, use that palette's mirror. Better. All right, that's done. So now I'm going to go into Vintage Rose, and I'm going to take my number 14 brush, and I'm going to take Rust Rose, which is this shade here. And I'm just going to start deepening the outer corner, still winging it. Oh, someone's playing music. Nice. And I have to say, of these two palettes, I love them both, but I will say that I enjoy the Give Me Glow one a little bit more. And let me explain why. It's nothing to do with formula. They're both banging formulas, and they actually work really, really well together. What I enjoy about this palette more than I do the, I'm just going to go back and add a little bit more of this, more than I do the Divine Rose 2, is the depth of tone, the difference. Like, I love that we have these greens to play with. Green is my favorite color, so that's going to always win me over. That's just the way it is. But I love that it just has a little bit more variety as far as tone goes. So now I'm going to go into, are we going to do it? Yeah, I really want to use Aged Rose Stem, which is the green. And I have it on a 14 brush, but I kind of want it on a 13 brush. Let's see here. Let me scrounge through my brushes. They need to be washed. We all know. Variations on a theme, people. Variations on a theme. Let's see. Do I have a clean? I do. It's stained pink, but that's okay. That's okay. So we're going to take a number 13, and we're going to take Aged Stem. And what I'm going to do first is just create the shape that I want. So I'm just, because this is very, very pigmented. And I don't want to get it everywhere, but I want to like just start stamping it where I want it. And then I can kind of go in and zhuzh it up a bit. And I might go in with like a little concealer or something just to clean up the edges. I usually, when using like this palette or even Pat's palette, I tend to do my eyes first and then my face. But since this is a palette mashup, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have that done so that we could get straight to what you guys are here for, which is the eyeshadows, baby. I'm going to do the same here on this eye. Their Give Me Glow's formula. I don't own a ton of indie makeup, but I own, how many? I think I own like 3 Give Me Glow palettes. I used to own 4, but I got rid of 1 because I just never used it. It was the Juicy Olive. And if you know my love of greens, specifically smoky, swampy greens, you know why I own that palette. But I bought it on a whim and I never used it. And it was just like, why do you own this, Amir? Not that there was anything wrong with it. It's just that I owned so many greens that it was just sort of like redundant, you know? And I'm trying to be smarter about that. So as you can see, I'm just sort of like making this really intense. And then what I'm going to do, I am going to blend this out, of course, a little bit more, but I just want to get the shape. And as you can see, I do have some fallout, which I'm going to have to clean up, but that's okay. I'm going to go back in with Rust Rose. And I'm just putting this around here just to sort of help blend that out. And also to bring that color up so we don't lose it. Okay. Now, this is where things will get a little complicated because I have choices, people. I have a lot of choices. I really want to use Extraterrestrial because, duh. I mean, this is from Divine Rose 2. And as you can see, it's like pink. And then I don't know if I can show you guys. It's pink. And then as you can see here, it kind of shifts a little. It shifts green. On my eyes, it shifts quite green. So I'm wondering if I want to fortify the pink a little by using Bouquet from the Vintage Rose palette. What do you guys think? I kind of want to put, I'm going to go in with Bouquet first just to get some pink on the eye because I want to make sure that it's going to really pop as a pink on the eye. I am going to first use glitter glue today. We're just using this today. I have glitter glue. I honestly don't use it that often, guys. I use it mostly when I know I'm using something really messy. But generally I just spray my brush with setting spray, and you guys have seen me do that a million times on this channel. I like to spray my brush with setting spray. That's my method of choice, or choice of method. Grammar. I can't even say it's early because it's not. I have no excuse. All right, so let's go in with Le Bouquet. Quick question: has anyone here ever watched that British sitcom, Keeping Up Appearances? Have you guys ever watched that? If you're British, then you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're not British, do you know that sitcom? It used to come on PBS here in the States, or here in my city in Chicago. It used to come on PBS, and I used to love British sitcoms. I used to think they were so funny, and that one was really funny because the character, his last name, their last name was Bucket. But because the wife did not want to be called Mrs. Bucket, she would say that their name was Bouquet, but it was spelled like bucket. That sent me every single time. Every single time. She would just cringe every time they called her Mrs. Bucket. These are the things that make me laugh. All right, now I'm going to take Sextraterrestrial, and I'm not gluing that one on because this one is a bit of a thinner consistency, so I don't feel like I necessarily need to do that. But I'm going to pop that on the inner part of the lid. And I don't know if the shift is showing on camera. It's showing in real life. So one thing I do dislike about multi-chromes and duochromes sometimes is that the beauty can be lost in translation on camera. I don't even know. Is the shift showing? You guys tell me in the comments. I'm going to just move my head around like a little bobblehead. Can you see it? I don't know. I can see it. When I look here, I can see it definitely, and it looks really pretty. But I don't know if you guys can see it. All right, I'm going to clean up my under eye, and then we're going to get into the lower lash line. I think for the lower lash line, I want to go with a little bit of the shade. What is this called? Extreme Burgundy from Divine Rose 2. I'm going to take a little baby. Do I want to baby, or let's take a medium baby. This is my Sonia G Pencil Pro. I'm just going to take a little bit of that because it is hella pigmented. And I'm just going to put it here. Someone in my house is blowing their nose, so that's lovely for me. Okay, that's great. And then I think I'm going to take a little bit of Rust Rose from Vintage Rose, and this is the one that I use in my crease. Very pretty. And then I think I want to take let's take Blush Pink because it's light and it's bright, and I think it'll look really pretty right there. Yeah, that's actually really pretty. Just a nice light matte pink. For my inner corner, I think I'm actually going to take What shade is this again? This is Skin Show Rose Opal from Divine Rose 2. And this I am going to go ahead and wet my brush. And I think I'm going to use a smaller brush for this because I want it to be a little more precise. So I'm going to take my trusty primer water. Sorry if I blinded you guys with that palette. It's so reflective. It's redonkulous. It's pretty, but if you're trying to film with it, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. All right. And I think also, because I have this green, I think I'm going to take a little teeny tiny bit of Thorn. And I'm just, oh, I don't have a lash plug me that. I'm just going to take a little bit of Thorn and put it right in the center here. I have an eyelash that is poking me, stabbing me in the eye right now, so I'm not really a fan of that. Just a little bit over this pink. It's probably going to obscure some of it, but I really want to marry the green at the top with what's going on at the bottom. So we're just going to have to do that and go over it a little bit. All right. I'm going to take a little bit more of Aged Rose Stem and just bring it up a little higher. And I'm using a smaller, more precise brush to do that so that I don't over blend or go into areas that I'm not trying to actually touch, if that makes sense. If you have hooded eyes like I do and you want to sort of bring colors up after you've done your full eye, this is a great way to do it. It just kind of gives you a little bit more control than going in with, like, say, a fluffier brush like this. And this is a Unit 310 brush. I'm not gonna lie, I bought these brushes, these Units brushes, because they're orange, and I just think those are it's so pretty. But they're actually really good brushes, so I'm not even mad about it. It actually worked out in my favor. Okay, so as you can see, I just brought up the green a little bit more, and then what I'm gonna do is actually go back in with the other shades that I used. So I used Bouquet. I'm just gonna take some out, and I'm using the same brushes. And I'm just gonna bring that up a bit. And then I'm gonna take Extraterrestrial and just bring that up a bit. Then I think what I want to do, I'm doing a whole bunch of little extra things, but this is the reality of how, you know, I think makeup is actually done, is you really just kind of go back and forth until you get it the way you want it, you know. It doesn't have to all be done in one go. You can go back and forth and, you know, play around and get it to where you want it. So I just took a little bit of Rust Rose here just to keep that from getting too dark in the inner corner. I think I never do this, but I think I'm going to do it now only because I think it'll be really pretty and it'll help lift the eye a bit. So I'm going to take a bit of Skin Show Rose Opal and I'm going to put that right on my brow bone. Like, whoop. I picked up way too much there. That's okay. We're going to blend it out. I will just take, if I can find it, this one here. There you go. I don't know how I got that much product on my brush, but we're here now. We're gonna make it work. There we go. Okay, this is the eye. I'm really happy with that. I think what I'm gonna go, well, not think, I'm going to throw on some mascara and we're going to put some liner in the waterline and I will come back and we'll put some lipstick on and do a whole finished vibe. All right, guys, I am back. I have put on some mascara and I also put some liner in my waterline. I used the House Labs Pencil and Grime, which is like this really bright, vibrant green. And now let's do the lips. let's see here. I have some lip oil on. I had the Merit lip oil on this morning, so I'm taking that off. And I'm thinking I'm gonna go between deciding between rather two shades of liquid lipstick. It's either gonna be the Give Me Glow She's All That liquid lipstick, or it's gonna be the NYX Shine Loud and Overnight Hero. Now, Overnight Hero is quite cool toned, so I'm wondering if but this one is too, but it's a bit more pinky. Let's go with this one. Let's see. Of course, I stabbed myself with it. Let's go with this one. And I'm just noticing that I have eyeshadow here and here. I always manage to get eyeshadow around this part of my face. I don't quite know why, but it always happens. It's like my own little quirk. How much eyeshadow can I get everywhere on my face, not just under my eyes? This shade is really pretty. It is not available anywhere, I don't think. Give Me Glow discontinued most of their liquid lipstick collection and then reformulated it. So I haven't checked to see what they brought back, so I couldn't tell you. But when they were discontinuing everything, I was like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of them because I love their color selection. Their formula is not my fave, so I'm not really mad at them for reformulating it. It can be quite drying, but the shade range, fantastic. All right, guys, so let me zoom you in just a little bit more so you can see the whole look up close. What do you think? Do we like? I really like this. I love these two palettes. I'm not a huge pink eyeshadow person, but I think when pinks are paired with, and I'll zoom you guys back out. Well, I think when pinks are paired with greens and, you know, sort of like rusty tones, it can be really beautiful and romantic, and it doesn't feel as precious as pinks can kind of feel sometimes. Pinks can be really sort of overly precious for me, and when the color story is just like a pink, pink, pink. I usually have to have something that has some kind of depth in it. The Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2, I feel like the saving grace with this palette for the color story for me is extraterrestrial in these tones here, especially like Naked Blush, which is actually quite pigmented. And I said I was going to try that as a blush. I have blush on already, but I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to put a little bit of this on this little brush here. This is it's very powdery shade, by the way, so that's one of the reasons why it kind of works as a blush, but it also can be kind of messy. This is a mini Sonia G Classic base. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this and put it on my cheeks. You guys see how pigmented that is? My God. Like, I kind of want to take my concealer brush and just go. But isn't that a really pretty, like, blush shade? So for me, the thing that I liked most about this palette is that, honestly, if you wanted to, you could use this as a face and eye palette because of the fact that you can use certain tones as blushes. This bright pink in here is more of a satin, so you can use it as a matte, you can use it as a satin, you can bump it up by layering over certain things. So I think the thing that saves Divine Rose 2 for me is like the extraterrestrial shade, the more neutrally tones, and the fact that the shades can be used to, you know, in multiple ways. Color story wise, I prefer Vintage Rose because of these greens, and I love green. It's my favorite color. So just visually, the thing that I'm most attracted to when I open this, I'm just like, ooh, the greens. So yeah, but they're both beautiful palettes. The formulas work so well together. I just think they're a match made in heaven. And if you have both of these and you've never used them together, give it a shot. And also, if these are two palettes that you've had your eye on and you're like, I don't know how well they would integrate into my collection, maybe this is giving you some ideas. If you have palettes, you know, another palette with a similar color story, you can maybe see how Divine Rose 2 would pair up with that palette, or how Vintage Rose would pair up with another palette. So yeah, this is just to give you guys some ideas of how to pair palettes. Using more than one palette is something that I do a lot. I very seldomly just stick to one palette. Well, I won't say seldomly. I prefer to use more than one palette a lot of the times because it just gives you more options. You know, a lot of people prefer singles for those reasons. For me, because I love color stories, I will always prefer palettes. But I'm not married to just using one palette when I sit down and do my eye makeup. I really do love the idea of pairing color stories together and seeing how they interact. So yeah, so that is everything with this palette mashup. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a like. And if you are not subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe. I post 3 videos a week. I was originally at 2 videos, but I'm bumping it up to 3 because I have the time to do so. And I enjoy posting. It's a lot of fun for me. YouTube is it brings me a lot of joy posting videos for you guys. So I am bumping up to 3 videos a week. And those are Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. If there are some palettes that you guys want me to pair together that are in my collection, and if you don't know what's in my collection, just pop on over to my collection video playlist. I have where all of my eyeshadow palettes are in my eyeshadow palette collection video. I also do a small declutter, but you get to see everything that I own. And if you are interested in me doing a mashup of particular palettes, let me know in the comments, guys. I would be more than happy to do that. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.